Hey there, Space Cadet. How is your money doing? Now, if you're like, well, I'm here to help. Let's say that there's something that you really want to buy, like maybe a new TV, or let's say that you have other financial goals, like maybe you want to retire early, or maybe you're just sick of living paycheck to paycheck. Well, I'm going to help you with that. Now, the first step to buying anything that you want and meeting your financial goals is to set up a budget. I know that the word budget, it's kind of like a kind of word. It sounds really boring, but it really will help you achieve your financial dreams. And I'm going to show you how. Now, when you think of the word budget, you might be thinking, oh, she's going to make me live off of beans and rice. And I just do not want to do that. I don't want to spend my time eating ramen. And I'm not asking you to. I'm not asking you to tighten your belt or anything. A budget is simply spending your money on paper before you spend it in real life. The first step is writing down all your expenses in a month. Now, if you're paid every 2 weeks, you might want to write down your expenses for those 2 weeks. And what I mean by that is, let's say that you have to pay a monthly rent, split that rent into 2, and then factor that into your 2-week budget. Also, when you're making your budget, it's important to consider your annual expenses. For example, license renewal, or if you have identity theft protection and you pay for that annually. You need to factor those in as well. It's fairly simple. Just take however much you pay in a year, divide that by 12, and then you have a monthly budget. Or take what you pay in a year, divide that by 26, and then you have your 2-week budget. Now there's a few different tools out there to help you. Personally, I like to use mint.com. First off, I can link most of my accounts here. For example, I have my checking accounts, savings accounts, credit cards, loans, and it even shows me how much my condo is worth. And another bonus, it gives me my credit score. But I think the most useful feature of mint.com is that you can make a budget and track your spending. It's fairly simple. You can either create a budget, or down here you can go to everything else. And let's say that you wanted to budget for television every month. Just click on that and it'll ask you, like, how do you want to budget? You can save like that. And then it'll tell you, like, if you overspent or if you're just at that line or if you're under. And then over here, it'll show you your income, spending, and if you have any goals and what's left over. If you have a goal, whether that be to save up for a down payment on a house or pay off your loans, you can do so under the goals section. I had one to pay off my car. Got that completed. You just go to add a goal. You can say, like, pay off credit cards, for example. And then click next. Fill that out, and then you can have a new goal and actually track how well you're doing with that. Another tip about budgeting is that you don't want to spend too much in any one category. So I recommend going to calculator.me and finding their budget planning calculator. Here you can enter in your net income. That means you take your income minus whatever taxes, whatever come out, and whatever your paycheck is for, that's what you're entering here. I'm just going to pick a random amount of, say, $2,000. Now, again, you can either put your monthly in here, or if you get paid every 2 weeks, you can put that in there. It's however you want to budget money. Now, once you put your amount in there, you can click on Convert to Dollar Amounts, and it'll give you the low end and the high end of the recommendations. So, for example, for charitable gifts, low end is 10%, high end is 15%. And there's some savings here, and it goes down Now, there's some room for debts if you have some debts to pay off. What I love about actually having a budget is that I can actually budget in some recreation. And that way I know that it's okay to spend that amount. Another thing to consider with your budget is don't just go ahead and spend the high end of this. It does have to add up to 100% of your net income, to this number here, your net income. Okay, so you've gone ahead and you wrote your budget down. You have a way to track your spending. You know the percentages that you're supposed to spend in each category. Now you have to just stick to it, and that's very important. Stick to your budget. Okay. One thing that you could try is the envelope method. How that works is that you take an envelope and you write on it what you're going to spend. For example, rent. And then you take the cash that you're going to use and you stick it in the envelope. Then once you have your cash in the envelope, you don't use that envelope unless you're going to spend it on what it says on the front. So for example, with this envelope, we wouldn't take the cash out unless we were going to spend it on rent. If you use cash, then you can't get overdraft fees. You're not going to incur any interest on your credit card. And when the money's out, it's just out. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, I really recommend using cash. It'll really help you control your spending. Another thing that you can do is instead of using envelopes and using cash, you can divide your categories up into gift cards. So what I like to do is every month I'll go to the grocery store. I'll buy a few groceries and then I'll figure out how much is left in my budget. What's ever left, I'll put on a gift card and I can keep that in my wallet, and then when I go and I'm at the grocery store, I can take it out and I can swipe that gift card. Like with cash, if you have a gift card, you can't have any overdraft fees and there's no interest that you have to pay. With a lot of places, I know that with my grocery store, I use King Soopers, which is Kroger. They let me reload the card. If you use gift cards, I recommend that you register it with the company if you can. You can go online and register that. Otherwise, jot down the full card number in someplace really safe, and any sort of code, the expiration date, write down the information about that card somewhere. Just in case you lose it, treat this card as cash. Okay, those are the tips that I have for you today. Don't worry if it takes you 2 or 3 months to adjust your budget and get used to that kind of spending. You should now have the necessary tools that you need in order to have a good foundation with your finances. Please go ahead and like this video, and if you're interested in more financial videos, go ahead and subscribe, and go ahead and leave a comment in the towel section. Thanks so much. See you next time.